Welcome back to the program, everybody. Welcome back to another show. Welcome back to another episode. Good morning or good afternoon to all of my viewers, listeners, and Soul Tribe family. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory. It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory is a nonprofit social service agency, suicide prevention campaign, servicing the needs of families and foster children at risk, lending my voice to help raise awareness by soft publishing a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a graphic novel based on true events following my life as a freelance artist. This program is intended to help encourage, heal, and empower survivors of cancel culture and rape culture, providing free information regarding child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, electronic harassment, gang stalking, conspiracy, and true organized crimes against humanity. Your company can help by providing funds in a grant or by donating goods and services as I continue delivering this information to the public and advocating for foster children in need. Thank you in advance for all of your support. On today's episode, I'm going to be discussing gang stalking, hypersimulation theory, psychological operations, plus surviving the New World disorder per usual, surviving manufactured chaos, surviving manufactured karma, surviving white genocide, and surviving the electronic targeting holocaust. My name is Adrienne Alese. I am the author and creator of a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair, Part 1, 2, and now 3. Super proud of these books. Super proud of the community outreach that I do on YouTube. Lucy's Lair is a book trilogy reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture, child sex trafficking, and psychological gas chambers. On this program, I advocate for women's rights, basic human rights, and the rights of those disabled. I also advocate on behalf of the foster children in the CPS systems, orphans, single mothers, foster mothers, and those less fortunate. Targeted individuals or trafficked victims are predominantly women. 65 to 70% of targeted individuals are white American women or those who identify as such. This makes gang stalking an illegal operation or hate crime that is sexually and politically motivated towards American women and their children. This program is a dedication to the targeted individual community. The objective of the opposition, or the counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO for short, 2.0, is to subvert all of the target's potentiality, to terminate and to punish all supporters and sympathizers, to round down the target's output and audience, to marginalize the target, to eliminate connections and networking ability. So I just wanted to take a moment to praise the Lord and say hallelujah. Because with this George Floyd propaganda and this Blackout Tuesday, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it really was a campaign to try to silence survivors of rape culture, and it's been ongoing. So it's a white genocide, it's an electronic holocaust. This is just one of the tactics, this is just one of the methods, this is just one of the avenues that has been used by this COINTELPRO or by the FBI to systemically segregate, to alienate, and to isolate and deprive the target. Praise God that the plans of the enemy have not fallen through, and now I run a successful suicide prevention campaign online. All right, so I'm just going to be picking up right where I left off. Hopefully I can do this briefly here. So Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits and Stay-Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. All right, and so one of the things I wanted to mention really quick was how The FBI tries to deny that this program exists when the information is available online for free. If people are interested in researching this for themselves, they can. And a lot of this plays into the Project Monarch programming. So the idea with this PSYOP, with this covert operation, is to stalk and harass and blackmail the target so that they can stage a synthetic suicide programming. All right, and then so one of the things that I was researching when my phone was hacked was spiritually suffocating, and I wanted to see about the spiritual symbolism behind spiritually suffocating, since it was in the media with this George Floyd mainstream media propaganda. But I say that because it goes hand in hand with the Black Lives Matter riots. And the reason why I even have to mention this is because I'm being blackmailed at work covertly when I was working at the grocery store, and that was the reason why I was wrongfully terminated. So this is just one of the ways so that they can go about suppressing the monetary success of the target, of the victim. In life, so many people are slowly asphyxiating. This spiritual suffocating manifests itself in many different responses. Feeling overwhelmed, lonely, guilty, unimportant, ashamed, unsafe, worthless, stupid, left out, incompetent, lost in life, never catching up on tasks, craving a drink, needing coffee to get started, seeing the glass half empty, never getting a break, feeling unattractive, eating to soothe, being passed over, picked last, or picked on. Some people feel flat out hopeless, helpless, and even suicidal. So it would appear to me that the motive is right here in this, in the context of this research that I've done. Some people feel flat out hopeless, helpless, and even suicidal. So this is because of the attrition-based approach. Attrition is the product or the gradual erosion of a person's will, their will to live. So, but in this bit here, this bit of research that I have done, it says, why? Because they are not spiritually breathing. Well, the fact that I understand this much implies that I am very much so spiritually breathing. So I rebuke this curse in the name of Jesus, as well as any other faulty mental health diagnosis or label that they try to put on me. It's all disinformation. It's a slander campaign. Dreaming about being choked is mostly related to emotions, feelings of inability to make your own decisions, to express yourself, and to find a solution for the burning issues in your life. To dream of choking someone else is related to lack of interest or animosity towards that particular person, or a sign of not understanding the principle of this individual. The dream carries a powerful symbolic meaning, but we interpreted only a piece of it. The dream of being choked is often related to the feeling that something is pressing on us, or we do not have the strength to resist the idea that may be not so well for us. In both cases, the feeling this dream leaves is the same. So it wasn't a dream that I was researching. It was actually just mainstream media propaganda. But I was wanting to research this so that I can see for myself what this represents and how I can brace myself for whatever this may represent. If you are watching someone get strangled, it can be a warning about a physical or spiritual attack. It's almost every day it happens. To dream of being choked represents emotional suffocation, feeling unable to express yourself at all or make your own decisions. Feeling unable to express yourself at all or make your own decisions. Dreams about suffocation can mean that you are simply too busy. Similar to dreams about drowning, dreams about suffocating can symbolize that your current hectic lifestyle will quite simply be the death of you. This implies premeditated homicide, staged or not. This is what this is implying. So this is premeditated homicide. Similar to dreams about drowning, dreams about suffocating can symbolize that your current hectic lifestyle will quite simply be the death of you. If you dreamed that you were strangled to death, the dream book predicts a serious emotional shock. This plot means that you've decided to break off the current love affair, marriage, or business relationship. So this is how they're trying to mind control the partner and the relationship. So if you're going to be in a relationship, they're going to make it toxic. This is how they're going about doing that. So the whole operation was to say that this baby cousin of Geron's committed suicide. Dream Bible, dream interpretation of suffocating. To dream of being suffocated represents feelings of being smothered or oppressed by a person or situation. To dream of being suffocated represents feelings of being smothered or oppressed by a person or a situation. So again, hinting at their motive. The plan, the idea is all right here. So it's really good that I went ahead and researched this the way that I did. To dream of being suffocated represents feelings of being smothered or oppressed by a person or situation. So that would be the 24-hour surveillance, the 24-hour stalking and harassing, and that would be the nonstop blackmail. So they're basically taking these Black Lives Matter riots and this Stop Asian Hate rioting into the job where these targets work, covertly harassing them there, and then having them wrongfully terminated so that they can suppress the monetary success. Something or someone is holding you back. You may feel unable to express yourself, speak your mind, or are experiencing a lot of stress and tension. And of course, this is exploitation and trafficking awareness, because all of this is exploitation and trafficking. And so I just have to praise the good Lord for this opportunity to expose all of these human sex traffickers. Chapter 18, overview of harassment methods used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, covert community recruits, and stay behind armies, or instruction manual for community gang stalkers. Number 1, general. Operations in general are of the active surveillance type, which include spying, domestic espionage, domestic servitude, hacking, phishing, data breach, data and metadata theft. Active passive surveillance is watching a target covertly to obtain private information about the target that will be used for a counter-proliferation targeting program, also known as a depopulation agenda, exploiting the target's vulnerabilities such as whereabouts, etc. Surveillance is the foundation of all psychological operations. Both community-based agent, visual surveillance, and advanced electronic surveillance are used. Intercepts. Intercepting to sabotage the target's reputation. Intercepting to sabotage the target's public image. Intercepting to systemically segregate the target. Intercepting to systemically oppress the target. Intercepting to systemically taint the target's image. Intercepting to sexually oppress the target. Intercepting to systemically deprive the target. Intercepting to suppress the target's monetary success. Intercepting to systemically sabotage the target, intercepting to systemically disrupt the target's peace, intercepting to systemically distribute denial of service attacks, so known as DDoS attacks. Intercepts are where community-based agents will appear to, quote, just coincidentally cross paths on foot with a target. Once the target has been sensitized to the point of realizing they are under surveillance and punishment, they will recognize and be made appropriately uncomfortable by the simple act of multiple community-based agents, quote, just happening to cross paths with them. Your local control center will instruct you as to how you will be cued to perform an intercept. Often you will have an on-site supervisor position you and give you hand signals as to when to start your movement to intercept the target. Physical sabotage. Physical sabotage is very important in that it lets the target know they are totally helpless to stop it and can't even complain about it effectively without appearing mentally ill. Sabotaging the target's reputation. Sabotaging the target's reputation and all that goes with it, such as ability to earn a living, business, and personal relationships, is a very special operations category. Suffice it to say that it is possible to apply incentives which cause even people closest to the target to cooperate. Suffice it to say that it is possible to apply incentives which coerce even people closest to the target to participate. So in a lot of cases, fear is the incentive. These incentives are applied by specialists from our organization at higher than the local level. For the community level, community-based agent, the work of sabotaging the reputation of the target takes the form of simply performing intercepts, carrying out instructions from your local control center, on-site supervisor, also known as a quote handler, as to what you say or what you do, to whom, how, and when. Discrediting targets. While the powerful silent support of operations by the justice and psychiatric systems has been sufficient to prevent the target from informing the public, the area of discrediting targets is an ongoing activity. Like sabotaging the target's reputation, discrediting their public statements, discrediting their public image, discrediting their public appearances, websites, media appearances, and the like are done under the supervision of psychologists and psychiatrists on at their staff. So this is medical malpractice. The idea is to focus the neighbor's attention to the target's behavior, hinting that maybe the target is mentally ill. The idea is to focus the abuser's attention to the target's reaction, staging a psychological collapse. It is a very special honor for community-based agents to be chosen for target discredit action work. Remember that the goal is to have the target aware that they are being punished, but not be able to convince anyone else that that is the case. Exploitation of illusory explanations to conceal directed energy crimes. Advanced electronic surveillance along with this manual and field operations people are used. Psychologists are the key to find ways to maximize feelings of stress and hopelessness in the target and degrading the target's health. Gross. The control center always has target's position monitored, so they can ambush pretty much the target anytime that they want. They will set up and stage and arrange ahead of time an ambush. Community-based agents are given a cell phone number for reporting target actions and movement to the local control center. Computer programs predict exactly when and where a target will be as they move throughout the community. On-site supervisor has special means of giving and receiving instant silent instructions to and from the control center. Some of these silent instructions include encrypted inversions, reverse psychology, and even subliminal text messaging, amongst many other things. Intercepts are where community-based agents appear to, quote, just coincidentally cross paths on foot or by vehicle with the target. Sabotage of the target's reputation is special operations category done by spreading rumors consisting mainly of lies. The goal is to covertly keep negative information about the target flowing throughout the community via proxies, rumor campaigns, rallies, or gossip columns, etc. So the media is being used to mock the suffering of the target using a meta model. So that's usually a celebrity. And then the comment sections are used to manufacture schizophrenic hallucinations. The organization has many top psychologists and psychiatrists on permanent staff at headquarters. So disgusting. Like they're mad scientists. Like trying to create a Frankenstein is the vibe that I get. So anyways, their job is to design campaigns to destroy the target's life. So I think when targets are put in these programs unjustifiably, I think that a big part of the program is to ice them out so that they can create a drug addict. Once they can create a drug addict, it's really, really easy to stage a synthetic suicide programming. Punishing the target at the target's home and in the community is essential for effective Secret Service operations to create a, quote, prison without walls. Psychological operations are carried out 24/7 in shifts. The goal of the new war is the psychological collapse of new enemies or state enemies using a combination of overlapping tactics. Defeating new enemies involves the synchronized use of non-lethal directed energy weapons, isolation, deprivation, and psyops against individuals and groups most commonly known as targeted individuals. This new war is fought for political purposes and revolves around the issue of gaining the support and influence of the general population. These weapons can target the brain, causing changes in brain chemistry which manipulate and influence thoughts and emotions. Particular frequencies and modulations will trigger precise chemical reactions in the brain which produce specific emotions in the targeted individual, which also provokes specific reactions in the targeted individual. For instance, 6.6 pulses a second can induce severe sexual aggression in men. Sexual harassment is the frequency. Somatic therapy in yoga pants and yoga poses. Prolonged exposure therapy. So if you've been watching porn, this is how they will trauma bond for anchoring. Narrative exposure therapy. Exposure therapy focusing on trauma. Any exposure therapy that focuses on trauma. The U.S. military states that the goal is to overwhelm the target by attacking all 5 senses, plus motor and cognitive functions. So basically it's intercepting. So it can overwhelm the target by attacking all 5 senses, plus motor and cognitive functions. So when a targeted individual has a hard time remembering what they were about to say, this is more than likely why. Peace operations involve synergistic coordination. So the reason why you're being sexually harassed by women in yoga pants who are fat is because you're watching porn, is because of your sex addictions. So this is basically how they try to manufacture consent. And they will make you think that you actually like what it is that they are doing. But see, lobbying and legislating is one thing. Blackmail and bribery is where they cross the line into white-collar crime. So that is what we're dealing with. So anything that I say since I've started this program or anything that I do is in self-defense, which is why I've been forced to start this program. So peace operations involve a synergistic coordination. So they are able to synchronize the street theater, the somatic therapy, the hypnotherapy, The trauma-based mind control, they are then synchronizing with an electronic harassment attack so that they can facilitate a cyber Pearl Harbor, an electronic targeting holocaust. How do I know? Because this is exactly what they did to me. And what it was that I was telling them that I was living my life in fear of is exactly what they did. They told me that I was suffering from some sort of schizophrenic hallucination because I said these things were trying to kill me, these gang stalkers. And they had already tried to kill me so many times. One of them literally tried to kidnap me out of the vehicle I was sitting in at the gas station on my way to get coffee. And so be really, really, really careful when you're on your way to work in the morning or on your way to get coffee, because this is how they try to arrange for a setup to happen. And it is made and designed to look like a random act of violence. It is not. It is organized. It is orchestrated, exactly like the handbook says. Oh, I already know that they're mad because I'm doing my show. I'm going to focus on me as much as you focus on me. I'm going to focus on me as much as you focus on me. Peace operations involve synergistic coordination of psychological operations, military deception. So that hypnotherapy and somatic therapy and yoga pants is military deception. I want you all to go. This is your homework. Go and look up honeypot gang stalking on YouTube so you can see what other people are saying about this psyop, this new age psyop, or this ancient occult ritual, as I like to put it. So, military deception, effects-based operations, which has to do with neocortical warfare, operations security, political warfare, psychological warfare, also known as command and control warfare. Gosh, I love this program so much. And I love the fact that my spirit is dedicated to truth and exposing this Luciferian brotherhood. I just love that. So anyways, to continue, psychological operations and dark psychology are a major part of the new war and a core part of civilian military operations that is combined with electronic warfare and computer network operations. PSYOP units work with the civilian population as irregular forces to attack targets in the area of operation. PSYOP operators profile targets and devise themes to attack their targets. So this is being orchestrated ahead of time using technology. The ultimate goal of the PSYOP is to modify the behavior of the target by destroying their will using a relentless attack or a relentless attack cycle consisting of painful triggers. A type of audio-visual product. Bear with me now, because I know for a lot of you all, you've never even heard these words before. You probably didn't even know I was this smart. This is a real big one for a lot of you all. This is a lot to take in. It's a shocker. The fact that a woman can actually know more than you and be smarter than you, I know. The fact that a woman is able to use their mind for themselves, such a shocker. Brace yourself. A type of audio-visual product. You've never even heard of that before. Stop trying to act like you're special when you don't even know what that means. A type of audio-visual product known as PSYACT includes agents of action. So these are undercover agents who carry out plays in the presence of the target. Every single channel of communication that the target uses for information is interfered with. PSYACT's psychological actions are audiovisual products consisting of, quote, agents of action who deliver messages to a target. Agents of action follow a set of guidelines while, quote, play acting. So they're not real actors or actresses because they're, quote, play acting. They're pretending to be an agent or just whatever, an innocent bystander. Agents of action follow a set of guidelines while, quote, play acting to deliver the messages. Play acting. I seen a lot of it when I was working at grocery outlet. PSYACTs usually utilize multiple people to transmit messages. PSYACTs usually utilize, ooh, such a filthy word. PSYACTs usually utilize multiple people to transmit messages. And these messages and this street theater is happening every day, all day long. This is how they're forcing the victim to isolate. This is how they're depriving. This is why they're so scared. This is why the FBI is calling me in fear for their lives. Please don't shoot us in retaliation for our woke mob crimes. Funny. Trauma themes are presented in a performance similar to a play, live action role play, theater, or a movie production set. The military sometimes even employs people from theater actor guilds and modeling agencies. A sexual predator or human sex trafficker. This is a really important one for the ladies. I know the men seem to absolutely love it, but I'm pretty sure the contrast to that enjoyment, to that political indoctrination, the contrast to men loving it is the rape culture that women are being exposed to ritualistically. And we don't love it, okay? So this is a very important one for the women. A sexual predator or a human sex trafficker. Usually it's a pedophile, a child molester, a trafficker, somebody who's a rapist, somebody who's been charged with a rape, some sort of sexual assault crime that they will put as an innocent bystander. And this will be your honeypot. That's because this is a sexually and politically motivated hate crime. So be very careful, especially when you're somebody like myself who is currently transitioning or making the transition after this terrorist attack to get out of this relationship and to become single and independent and free and sovereign. So when you are trying to transition or when you are making the transition to get out of an abusive relationship that was manufactured and engineered by the CIA, that they want you to stay in, that they need you to stay in so you can continue to be gaslit, so you can stay indefinitely, forever and a day, until the last breath that I take. I will be in a psychological gas chamber that is a holocaust. And the victims, like myself, that are surviving, they are owed restitutions. They're owed more restitutions than your life combined are even worth. Let's stop having this argument because it's really petty. And honestly, I'm just doing the best that I can do to rise above it. Okay, because I didn't create the mob mentality, this cult think, this beehive. I'm not of it. I didn't create it. I didn't engineer this. I'm just doing the best that I can to try to rise above it. Okay, so when you are in the middle of trying to get out of a toxic, abusive situation or relationship that was engineered by the CIA, you need to be very cautious. You need to be very careful, because what they will do is put a rapist, trafficking predator in your midst. And if you're not careful, you will be attacked by this person. Chances are you're being exploited to this person virtually either way. And you just don't even know it. Thank God for the work that I do for women and people like myself here on this program. Thank God that this program is dedicated to the truth, and I have a reputation for speaking nothing but truth. Take it to the bank, baby. So anyways, a sexual predator or human sex trafficker or gang stalker, it's the same thing. Gang stalking is trafficking. Will pose as an actor or an actress under the guise of an innocent bystander. All right, so when they start defending the PSYOP, defending the honeypots, lying, trying to act like they weren't checking them out, trying to act brand new, you know, doing all of this and that and the third, gaslighting and victim blaming and doing all of this stuff, when the police at this point already know that you've been trying to leave the relationship, because every single time they come out, you've told them consistently the same exact story, that you're trying to leave and that he won't let you leave. So anyways, whenever he starts a big-ass argument and goes all crazy defending the honeypots, defending the PSYOP, you have to cut off his access to you. And I know that if you're like roommates, this is not always going to be possible. But what you want to do is make sure that he cannot call you, he cannot talk to you, you are not having sex, you are not available for him at all. You make yourself unavailable for him and you start prioritizing everything and everybody else the same exact way he does. This is an appropriate use and an appropriate timing for the use of the cold shoulder. This is when it's appropriate to use the cold shoulder, because the alternative to this, the contrast to this, is the latter, which is what they want, which is a full-blown genocide. That's the genocide that they choose each and every time. The war that they're choosing is the genocide that they're choosing. This is what they want. This is what they're working so hard to facilitate, to see happen. What do you think Operation Gladio? Like gladiator? What do you think that means? Genius? I mean, I know this isn't Jimmy Neutron or anything like that by all means, but take a wild guess. Why don't you? What do you think it means? So yeah, absolutely appropriate timing and use of the cold shoulder. This is when you want to ice them out, to stone them out, to let them know that their access to you and to your energy has been intercepted. And it was because they made a choice to defend the psyop, to get all crazy and start being a domestic terrorist. And because they chose to start acting psychotic and being a domestic terrorist, because they chose that, they chose the opposition. They chose the counterculture. They chose the influence. They chose violence, not peace. An interesting thing about these peace operations is that these thought police say the exact opposite of what they mean. So when they say that they're out here, peace operations is not peace operations at all. It's a planned operation to disturb your peace and to incite domestic violence. So the same FBI that has taken a vow to protect and serve our country and to defend or fight against domestic terrorism are the same exact ones that run these counter-proliferation targeting programs, that ice innocent civilians out, that wage war upon innocent civilians, that genocide innocent civilians and Holocaust the rest. That turn the targeted individuals' closest family, closest friends, closest loved ones, closest relatives, closest relationships out. How is this done? Street theater, indoctrination, dark psychology, gang stalking, psyops, isolation and deprivation, extreme oppression, extreme oppression. It's a miracle nobody else has died, truly. And nobody else has really been hurt besides myself. It's a miracle. It's because I pray. It's because I worship. It's because I sing. It's because I'm not a criminal. If you've ever noticed, I have noticed, these gang stalkers are always wearing a hat and they always have to conceal their identity. When you're not guilty of committing any crime, when you're innocent of committing any crime, you don't run away from the FBI when they call. You don't leave the house and put a hat on to try to conceal your identity because you're a criminal. And you damn sure don't have to constantly be pulling up next to somebody just to turn your back towards them and flash your ass. So I don't even know what that's about. All of this is psychotic. All of it is psychotic. Every single person involved is a serial killer. This is how they get justice, by murdering innocent civilians. This is their form of social justice. So just remember, every time you become a domestic terrorist and you lash out on the targeted individual who's a feminist, and they're targeted because they're a feminist, because that feminist's body is a biological weapon, my body is a biological weapon. And every time the male partner goes all crazy and becomes a domestic terrorist, just know, they won. They won. That's what they wanted. They got you to abuse Adrienne, and you did exactly that, dummy. You're so, so, so dumb. A sexual predator or human sex trafficker or gang stalker, because it's the same thing. This gang stalking psyop is a trafficking ring, will pose as an actor or actress under the guise of an innocent bystander to profile, to psyche profile. The psyche profiling that it is doing. The primary method that it is using is called directed conversation. To psyche profile and attack targets. So this psyche profiling is why these targets are so crazy, because they're reading their minds and they're manipulating their thoughts. They're introducing external stimuli and they are deleting memories and they are introducing new satanic, saturated memories that they think that you would like. They're using AI to try to match people according to this karmic cycle. So they're using AI to try to match people's personality types. So they can make you fall in love with an etheric implant, an actor or an actress under the guise of an innocent bystander doing street theater, performing exactly what they think you like. Wait till my next video. You guys are going to love it because I'm really going to go off. I'm going to go hard. Don't you love it when all of this suppression backfires and there's all of this blowback that they have to try to account for and there is no accountability? Don't you love it when a woman can single-handedly hold the fort down? Metaphysically speaking. So anyways, to profile and attack targets, to enable a cycle of ritual violence, which is what we had this morning. Psyche profiling to attack your mind, which is the real reason why these targets are psychotic. To attack your heart. To shatter your confidence. This is a big one if you're a feminist. They like to use what they would consider traditional women. But you have to understand that it takes, it's been about 6 years now. We're coming up on 6 years. 6 years of brainwashing. Every day, a traditional woman who's slightly obese in yoga pants just happens to be crossing paths. And it's not just every day, because it's while we're at work. It's when we get home and we're on the device. So it's electronically. So that's like a form of electronic sexual assault. And so on and so forth. It's at the gym. Do you think that this is a coincidence? It's at work. Bingo. The coworker you're trauma bonded to. Do you think that's a coincidence? It's while you're at the store. It's while you're at the gym. It's while you're on a plane, on vacation, or out of state, out of town. So do you honestly think that this is a coincidence? Because this entity attachment is a new age psyop. It is rape culture. It is cancel culture. I've got news for you. All right. So anyways, to enable a cycle of ritual violence, to psyche profile, to attack your mind, to attack your heart, to shatter your confidence, to misguide you. While you're thrill seeking and satisfying your the void inside of you, your self-love deficiency. There you go. While you're getting your narcissistic supply, you're also misguiding yourself and blocking your own blessings. So you are literally attacking the only person who's ever told you the truth or ever been honest. To some of you, to many of you, this is the first time somebody's ever been completely honest. That's how much of a lie, that's how much of a blue pill you're taking. That's how much of a matrix your life is. So while you're getting an ego boost, shattering my confidence, well, that you think you're doing, you're actually being misled. You're being manipulated. You're being used. Dirty. To generate mistrust. You're being used so that the CIA can manufacture a faulty mental health diagnosis, a medical record, a medical history, and a criminal record and a criminal history. There you go. You're being used for all of this, to facilitate all of this. This isn't even possible without the narcissistic, abusive relationship. None of this is even possible. I really want you all to focus your attention on the fact that everything that they're doing, all of this exploitation that they're doing, is only possible because of the anchor they created in the narcissistic abusive relationship that has been triangulated with this street theater and these other quote-unquote soul ties. If a man has porn addiction, chances are not only does he not love you, but he's incapable of loving you because he's ashamed of you. Because he hates himself, he hates you naturally. That's what narcissistic abuse is. You love them and they gaslight you and they call you crazy. That's exactly what they did to me. And all you ever did was offer them truth. I'm probably the only person that these things have either come close to meeting or have ever met that have been this honest and this transparent. They just don't know. It's like alien to them. All they know is lies. It's actually really sad. Anyways, to attack your relationship, to sabotage your reputation. I will never forget when my foster mother sat me down at church and tried to talk to me about my reputation. It's a good thing that I have a reputation for being honest and trustworthy. That's a good thing. To attack your relationship, if you're going to have a relationship and you're a feminist or you are a dissident, terrorist, whatever, targeted individual, you won't likely have any relationships. And if you do, they will be saturated. To cause you to doubt your reality. That's like the number one thing that a narcissist does. To cause you to doubt your reality. They do this by gaslighting. This is done by gaslighting. It's psychological coercion. To facilitate an electronic holocaust. To facilitate a cyber Pearl Harbor, which is currently being done. Psyops occur during rallies, rumor campaigns, work, group meetings, lectures, theater, plays, speeches, dances, school, banquets, fiestas, festivals, religious activities, public appearances, talks with individuals during interviews, on talk radio shows, and other social activities wherever the target goes. Messages may be subtly transmitted during these events. Agents of action follow a general script that can be modified as needed. This type of communication includes, quote, trauma words, trigger phrases, or trigger themes spoken by the actors in the presence of the target. The trigger theme is sexual exploitation. It uses a bottom-up approach and then fucks with the amygdala from the top back down, so it's causing permanent brain damage to give the victim dementia prematurely. U.S. military states that the ultimate goal of planned operations is to modify the behavior of the target by destroying their will to live. U.S. military states that the ultimate goal of planned operations is to modify the behavior of the target by destroying their will to live. This is brought about by continually inflicting pain. This is accomplished by a relentless campaign used to demoralize the victim that will create perpetual feelings of intense fear and hopelessness. The Department of Defense describes this as an attrition-based approach. Attrition is the product or gradual erosion of the will. The victim of this psychological attrition gradually becomes convinced that nothing he or she can do will yield a satisfactory outcome to any given situation. So this is the Suicide Squad for you all. In PsyOps, trauma themes are used to transmit painful stimuli, also called triggers, through all his or her channels of communication, which a target has been sensitized to. Trigger and trauma themes are understood at the strategic, operational, and tactical levels of the campaign, and they are passed to various commanders of particular areas of operations if the target moves towards that portion of the battle space. The triggers are part of a behavior modification program called neuro-linguistic programming, which uses anchors, trauma, and triggers to promote neurological change. An anchor is created when an emotional state is linked to something such as an object, person, sound, smell, place, color, etc. So this relationship with the mock death ritual serves as an anchor for scapegoating and a trauma bond or trauma-based mind control, as well as sexual exploitation. Once the anchor is established, whatever the individual was exposed to during the anchoring process becomes the stimulus trigger that will provoke the emotional response, or physical reaction. Let me say that one more time. Once the anchor is established, whatever the individual was exposed to during the anchoring process becomes the stimulus trigger that will provoke the emotional response or physical reaction. So basically, PSYOP is simply a series of, quote, stimulus response triggering interactions. PSYOPs are a planned process of conveying messages to a target audience to manipulate, provoke, and influence certain attitudes, emotions, and behavior. These messages are typically conveyed using a line of persuasion known as a theme. Exploitation of illusory explanations to conceal directed energy crimes, period.